Hey guys, Chief Williams Unfiltered. Today I want to talk about tipping in the United States and its territories. Now, outside of the United States, tipping is not a requirement, but the way our economic system is set up here in the U.S., people that work in the service industry, specifically servers and bartenders and people that are drivers, their wages are based with an expectation that the patron will offer a tip on top of the wage. Most people don't understand that the lower wages for these service industry people are based on a tip. So if you go into a place and you don't tip the person, you're really taking money out of that person's pocket. Some tourist places that pay a little bit more to their employees, Americans have probably spoiled them by giving them tips, which that's a personal preference. If you give a tip at a tourist attraction outside of the U.S., they may or may not need that tip, but it's just tradition for most Americans do tip, and the tip should be 15 to 20% based on the service. Now, that's a whole nother conversation. Do you tip based on the quality of the service or just the bill itself? And that's a personal preference. Me personally, I tip regardless of the quality of service. If something was wrong with the bill or something was wrong with the order or something was wrong with the food, I try to handle that between the server and the manager, but I still base the tip on the total of the bill because in my opinion, the person still has bills to pay. If you don't understand, and that's why I'm making this video, because I want everybody to understand that even if you have a bad day at work and you get paid a salary or hourly wage, your check at the end of the week is still going to be the same. Now, these people that work for tips, if they have a bad day, if they forget to bring you some water fast enough, or your food was cold or hot or whatever the problem was, and you decide not to tip them based on your bad experience, well, that person still has to pay their babysitter when they get home. So I keep that in mind when I tip. That's just me, but I just want to educate everybody on why tipping is important in the States. So going back to the 1800s, American business owners realized that they could get out of paying their people wages directly by just telling the patrons that they should tip. And that tradition has continued. Now, in 2019, servers make as little as $2.20 an hour and bartenders make as little as $3.28 an hour. So if you are going out to eat and you cannot afford to leave a tip, you should probably just stay home and fix your own meal and fix your own drink, because a tip should be calculated into your expenses when you go out. If you're going out and let's say you want to be Mr. Big Baller, get a VIP suite and at a club, for instance, and you want all your friends to drink and eat or whatever, yes, a gratuity may be included with the bill, but you should still tip those people on top of that, because you have to understand, and this is for any restaurant, the server has to share the tip with the bartender and the busboy. So if you're only tipping 10%, that 10% is split, especially if you order an alcoholic drink, that tip is split between the server, the busboy, and the bartender. So if you're gonna order a drink, I would recommend just sitting at the bar. That way, if you're gonna give a tip, you're maximizing your tip to the person that's doing the most work. Tip share is something that a lot of people don't understand, but if you just give a 10% tip, in many cases, that tip is split between other people. So you're taking even more food or money out of that server's pocket. Food delivery people, some people think, okay, well, I ordered some food and there's a food delivery charge. Well, that food delivery charge is for the restaurant, it's not for the server. The server or the food delivery person in many cases only gets paid $7 an hour and they have to pay their own gas. So if you give a tip, you're compensating this person for their time and energy, and just because they don't have the same type of job that you have, there's no reason to punish them by not giving them a tip. But I just want to give you guys an understanding of how tips work in America. When you're outside of America, you can or can give a tip. if you're near an American tourist attraction. But if you're outside of the U.S., they do not expect a tip. It's in many European countries and many countries in the Pacific, they do not expect a tip. However, if Americans have spoiled them, it's just human nature for them to get offended if you don't tip them. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not necessary. But please take into consideration, if you're gonna go out to eat and you only got $25, then you should order 20% less of that $25 in order to leave a good tip. I'm Chief Williams. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm out.